Champagne.
Here.
Dave Tuttle.
Here.
Leonard Jones.
Here.
Reese Clayton.
Join us, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Any changes to the agenda this evening?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
One second.
All those in favor? Minutes.
I make a motion, the minutes from the March 13, 2024 meeting.
Have a second?
I'll second that, yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Bell, staff report?
Scott Bell, Recreational Services Director. Whoa, DJ, sorry. Staff report. Budget presentations are going to start May 18th, which will have the recreational services component in there. We're looking at increases for the music in the park and the New Year's fireworks show as kind of some of the primary increases. Arctic Winter Games, I was not able to attend here last time because we were in the middle of it. Went spectacular. We had over 4,000 people at opening ceremonies. For the Dene and hockey games and championships, we had 13,000 people through the facility in 5 days. In closing ceremonies, we had 3,400 people. And it went without any incidences, which is the best part ever. Upcoming events is cleanup days, so we'd advertise cleanup days. Facebook, Make a Scene, Frontiersmen, and it's May 6th through the 11th, and we've made bags available at multiple drop sites or pickup sites. The dumpsters are going to be manned May 10th from 5 to 7 p.m., May 11th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We will have high school graduations May 13th through the 17th. We'll have 9 different rehearsals and 9 graduations that week. Music in the Park is going to be again every Saturday in the month of June from 1 to 9 p.m. And I did a park in the Green Pavilion area like last year. And then we'll have the July 4th finale, 3 to 9 p.m. for the Music in the Park program. 4th of July will be the usual City of Wasilla parade, and then we'll have the Mayor's Picnic 1 to 3 p.m. Our social media, Facebook, right now we have 680 followers. And part of unfinished business will be we have gotten our Parks Passport printed, distributed to Cottonwood Creek Elementary, Iditarod Elementary, Tanana Elementary for the 1st and 2nd grade classes. So we worked great with the school district, and the teacher's going to distribute them directly to all their kids. So we've got 400 and some out for those kids directly. We have pickup still at the Menard Center, the library, and museum, Tammy? We have them at the museum? Okay. We have a few there, and then the next phase of it is we're working on it being a downloadable like flip book type thing, so that we'll have that online hopefully in about the next 30 days or so. So that has all gone very, very well. And I don't know if you've seen it. Did Tammy do pass it around so everyone got a chance to see it? So we're pretty excited about it. And part of the budget next year will have the second phase, which is we'll add the other parks into it. And again, expand the program, get it integrated with the website and all the history and stuff like that. So we've got some multiple layers here that are occurring. Let's see. And that is staff report.
you, Scott.
Okay, we're been really busy. This is Jesse Griffiths. I'm the Parks and Properties Supervisor. So anyway, we've been busy. We've got Arbor Day coming up, so there'll be pamphlets and different things with a lot of the schools around here coming in for that. We'll be planting trees where they actually get to physically be a part of that, and we'll have Smokey the Bear present for that as well. And then we've been doing a lot of work here lately out at the campground, getting rid of all the dead trees that are dangerous, making it safe and appropriate for people. We've added a parking lot to the dog park to give people, because it's really it's busy all the time, which is great. We also went through, there's an upper portion of the campground which is for like tents and stuff like that, that basically hasn't been in play for a few years. We went through and removed a bunch of the dead trees and stuff, and we're probably gonna end up resurfacing it, smoothing it, and having a kind of a grass layout, so when people set up tents and stuff, it's a lot more comfortable for that atmosphere. We're also working down at the boat ramp, which we had some people come through there with snow machines and stuff and decided it was a great jumping place, and basically destroyed most of our boardwalk through there. So we've been down there, we've drove pilings in there over the winter to prepare for it. And then since then, we've added I think it's 140 feet onto it that we've replaced. And it will come down to gravel and eventually be pavement going to the parking lot. And the plan is that it will be ADA compliant when we're done, so that everybody has an opportunity to use it, which the other one was not. And all the restrooms, we're getting ready to open those up as well. IDITA is open year round. We close it during the winter around 3:15 due to vandalism. And since we've done that, we've had zero vandalism this year, where the year before we spent about $3,500 just in water faucets from people getting up and jumping on them and stomping them in. So that part's been great. And let's see here. And we're going through all of our playgrounds. We've done all of our inspections. Over at Nunley, we're getting ready to add the swings back in. The ones that were there were pretty wore out to the point that we pulled them last year. We're getting to the point we have a lady that's giving us prices on getting that kind of new equipment up here. And the other thing I'm working on in IDITA Park, basically where you come in behind the bathrooms, that trail, the walking path goes up and around up by the pond there, and all the way down by the sled hill and all the way back around. I've got a person getting me some quotes for what it's gonna cost to put in workout stations, so that, and we're gonna do it to where it's all ages. It doesn't matter whether you're 5 or if you're 89 to 120. It's something that anybody can have fun on, and hopefully make it more interesting when they get to walk around there, that they have things they can do, and just kind of take them through the whole path system there. We are also working on putting in some sprinkler systems and stuff up in IDITA for some of the zones that are really, just for a lack of better words, they haven't been nice. Like the Weber side, when you come in, it's kind of just a dirt place around the Blue Pavilion. So we're gonna be planting some trees, and that's actually where Arbor Day will be held this year. So we've got plans of putting trees in there, and then doing grass and having a sprinkler system to maintain that. Because the hardest part, there's been no water there, so it's never been able to be serviced. And so there's a ton of other stuff going on, so we're staying very busy. And we're about probably a quarter staff at temps right now, so it's just, so a lot of interviews and all that as we move forward to get all the people in place to do the whole summer thing and make sure all the garbage and bathrooms and all the maintenance is done as it should be.
Can you reiterate when Arbor Day is and what times?
It is May 20th, and it will be at 11 o'clock.
Okay. At the Blue Pavilion?
The Blue Pavilion, yes, which is on the Weber side.
Okay. A couple of quick questions. Is the trees that were taken down in the park,
Are they going to be made available to campers?
We have two huge monster piles that are available for campers. We go out there weekly and cut that for them, just for the safety aspect of it.
Sure.
Every once in a while, we've been fortunate to have the camp host was able to do that a couple years, which helped out. But other than that, we take care of all that for them.
Okay.
And we also have, I believe there's some wood permits because there is quite a quantity of it there. So, and they do really good at getting some of that out of our way and instead of just leaving it sit and going to waste.
Sure. Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions of our staff members?
At this time. I make a motion, we enter committee of the whole.
Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Go ahead.
I like the park passport. Very nice.
Yeah, looks good.
That's good.
And things, you gotta start someplace. I think a job well done is, should be noted. And 1 foot forward. So we have public comments. We give your name and.
Nope, don't hit that. You just hit the,
Okay.
Is it, that's not plugged in, is it?
it is, you just hit
The
the.
red button right in the middle.
Hello, my name is Michael Frosch. I just moved here a couple months ago from Washington State. And I am a frequent user of the Lake Wasilla Dog Park. And I'd like to suggest a few things for the park from what I see from here, coming from a different park from another state. One is I'd like to see about getting a no smoking policy inside the park, because I see a lot of people just lighting up anywhere in the park, especially around dogs, kids, other people, especially people like me that are allergic to cigarette smoke. And also it's very dangerous to dogs. Also, I see a lot of people throwing their cigarette butts on the ground, which is very poisonous to dogs. Just something as simple as a policy change or a new rule, instead of having to go through like a regular ordinance or a law change going through City Hall. Also, like to make a suggestion of putting a cigarette butt can outside the park to make it look like for people that are smoking to actually go outside to smoke, to throw away their cigarette butts. And like I said, if we could do a policy change or a rule change, something as simple as putting no smoking signs up in the entrances to the dog park would be sufficient enough, instead of having to have a new sign made saying no smoking in the park. But if anything, if we can't do that, we can make a suggestion of making a new ordinance for just the dog park for no smoking.
Anything else?
That's pretty much it. The butt can and is the cigarette butts and smoking inside the park is pretty much my main concern. Also, I know this has to do with funding, but I would also like to suggest making a smaller portion of the park, having an addition to the park for smaller dogs, such as we have large to medium-sized dogs, and we can have a smaller park for these small little dogs like the Chihuahuas and stuff like that, or dogs that are not kind of friendly around too many dogs, but could do one-on-one. So suggesting on making a smaller portion, doesn't need to be as big as the other park, but a smaller portion where other dogs can go to basically have park time as well instead of having to come back when the park is empty.
Thank you very much for your input. Any questions for this gentleman?
Can you spell your last name?
It's Michael, last name is Frosch, Fraasch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Bring this up. So any comments on that?
So
Those are,
I do agree that at a dog park, it's a good idea to have, even two small sections there. One, the little tiny dogs do get intimidated and quite often can be harmed by the other ones, but also the fact that just if somebody needs to separate their dog, there's a place to go.
yep, okay. How about the smoking? What's your thoughts on that?
Personally, not for smoking. I think it'd be very difficult to enforce it. However, having cigarette butt containers
Outside the,
outside the area for people to use is always a good idea for the people who are compliant.
one of the things I was thinking about is that, as Michael had mentioned, that it is, the butt can would be great because it is poisonous to the dogs, that maybe some informational handouts that maybe we could make available in our little plastic boxes about the dangers of smoking or the butts to the dogs that you're participating with, might be helpful also.
I agree with both of you.
Good, thanks.
You're welcome.
Scott,
Thank you.
Jesse, you got any input on that?
I did have a talk with Eric over this, and smoking and turning it into a non-smoking, the hard part about that is just what you said. Who's gonna police that and maintain that? And our cops are very busy with a bunch of other stuff, and our park rangers are busy with dealing with vandalism and stuff like that. And that's one of the key issues, is how are you actually gonna maintain that?
Well, I don't know that it's gonna be able to be maintained. I don't think, like you say, we've got a lot of other things in front of us.
And I think the cigarette butt thing, that was a great idea.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's something that we could remedy with that, with just having a conversation with Eric, and that shouldn't be a big deal.
So even also the part about, a little PSA of, keeping your pets healthy, to make sure people are using the canisters for the cigarette butts.
And I'll have a conversation with him over that and kind of
Because
see.
it might just, turn a couple heads and they'll think twice about throwing things on the ground. I mean, they shouldn't anyways, it's littering, but, just the fact of trying to educate people to do the right thing.
Well, most people are, a lot of people are intelligent enough to figure out that what they're putting on the ground is gonna end up in their dog if they're not watchful.
Correct.
And I think that if we make it notable in the park and get people,
Maybe we can do some signage or something like that, just to kind of make awareness of it and
Yep.
make it to where maybe it's helpful that people actually read it and see it and make it available, that where maybe they'll have a second thought on it.
yep, I
And
think that,
I mean, we could definitely do some things better to educate that, and I have no qualms with that, within the reason of everybody in the upper end being okay with us
Yeah.
doing that, and making
Like-
sure that we're not stepping out of line with that.
yeah, I think that trying to oversee or ding somebody for smoking is a tough road to go.
Well, I think
But it's something that's
and it's getting
everywhere else.
harder. Yeah, it's getting harder and harder because they've been removed from all the buildings, they've been removed from everywhere else. And then when you start trying to close in, it's just one more battle with them. But as far as me, I'm a non-smoker myself, so that doesn't bother me not to have it. But
Yeah.
I also don't understand how you're gonna accommodate that without someone sitting there 24/7 too.
Yeah, I think just education or at least big signage.
And maybe that will help bring down the amount that's being left there, because we get to pick them up all the time as well.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
maybe having something on our Facebook page to reiterate, you know, if you're in the park, and typically, I don't know if we're having problems in any other parks, but typically, if we make it known that smoking is not really encouraged because of the children, because of the
I believe we
possibility.
do have that on some of the actual where the children are parks, but I'll double check that once again.
Yeah, and I think
I
maybe
think
if
that's
we
part
could
of the
put that
park
on the,
rules, I
I
believe.
think the signage would be the best thing that we could do.
and then Facebook
Yeah,
reiterate,
I mean,
okay?
boy.
If we could go forward with that, that would be helpful. Michael, again, thank you for your time and your input.
And just to let you know, sign, no smoking sign is like $2, and I'd be glad to purchase a couple signs if that's gonna be an issue right there.
Yeah,
So,
we know that. It's not that, it's about enforcing it once you put it up there. That's the biggest thing.
Enforcement, usually a signage, basically say no smoking will deter about 75% of these smokers, and hey, there's no sign in there, there's a sign that says no smoking. Of course, you're always gonna have the ones that say screw it, but that will at least cut down on the ones that say, oh crap, I should not be smoking here, so.
Especially if there's something that also indicates that it's your dog's health that and your health that we're looking after, might help too.
Yeah.
So, thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good comments. So, is there any other,
So just on the whole part about having people not smoke in the park, I would find that very difficult to enforce because even walking through, I did a park. I'm not sure how you enforce people from not smoking things that they shouldn't be smoking there anyways.
I understand, but if we bring it to their attention that, you know, we're trying to provide a healthy environment for not only you, but your kids, your dog, and we don't really encourage smoking, I mean, all you can do is throw it up against the wall. And the smart ones will get it, and the other ones won't, and they never will.
So at one point, I know that there was a sign around Wonderland Playground itself where you walked in. There used to be a sign there that said no smoking. It's a wooden structure. However, I don't know what is there anymore.
I guess what we need to find out is what the parameters are for the park rules on that. I don't know personally.
I can get that to you for the next meeting.
And if you would let us know or let Tammy know so that we can start working on a media process on the Facebook, if nothing else.
We're looking for park rules just strictly with the smoking, is that correct? Or are you on the no guns and the whole thing and the policy that goes with that?
Well, maybe each week or each couple of days, we rotate these are the suggestions for our parks. We appreciate your acknowledging them and taking them to heed. I don't know. I mean, I think you can't beat them over the head with it, but at least you can make them aware.
And that's the only thing that we can do is make them aware, educate the public.
Yeah.
And,
You can go all the way to the bottom before you come back to the top.
yeah,
So along the line of park rules, though, I just gotta say it because I confronted somebody last week. In the little BMX area, there is somebody in there with a electric dirt bike. And also his friend was nearby with his regular dirt bike. And I said, hey, you're not supposed to be here. And one gentleman said, well, he can be here. And I said, really? Not supposed to be.
Motorized.
But, you know, it's one of those things of, it wasn't a child. They knew
course.
better.
Was he texting?
No.
Okay.
But there's just a lot of things there that have been destroyed with vehicles driving through.
Oh, I know.
So there's nothing in that whole entire area that says pedal bikes only.
And those are the kind of the things that we need to, you know, Mom, Dad, can I go to the park?
But this is sometimes
Oh, I know.
the parents,
Again, you can only beat them over the head with it once in a while. So, but I think that's a good idea. We've got the electronic media to back us up.
so
Use it.
most of the park gates are fully wide open now. There is nothing stopping anybody from driving through. Four-wheelers can fit through the gates.
Which I think is another,
That's a whole issue.
I don't know if we have,
Office, and then I talked about it.
Jesse? Jesse,
Yes, sir.
do we have the accommodations or the ability to make it non-advantageous for four-wheelers and that to get into our parks?
We have signage up for all of that. We have them out at Lake Lucille. You always have the few that ruin it for the many. Every time we encounter that, any of our staff they notify the PD, and typically anyone who ends up in there ends up being cited for it. So,
And maybe we should, again, making them aware of it, letting them know what the fine is for using their four-wheeler or scat or whatever they're using inside the park confines.
90% of it is younger teenagers or lower, and that's our biggest one that we deal with. I haven't really had any adults doing that. It's usually teenagers that,
Think
you know,
they're
there's
above
been
it.
some that actually ride to the park and then push it through the park. And even those we end up encountering and making them remove them, just so it doesn't look like it's okay to be in there.
Yeah,
But I can check with enforcement and see if there's anything that they feel would help deal with that any better than actually just, because 90% of it is you gotta catch them in the act in order to actually do anything.
I just think that if there's no really open access to it, except for those gates, and the gates are open,
The problem is you can come in off of a lot of different areas for that. If you came in from the fireplace, it's a whole open field. You could come in through the Honor Garden, you can come in through the back parking lot that's over by the Garden of Reflection.
yeah, I understand, but it's sort of like locking your car. It's not gonna deter the guy that wants in your car,
Exactly.
keeps an honest man honest.
So, and also part of the fence, that runs behind Matsu Family Restaurant, it's down. Someone could
That's the
drive a
family.
truck.
Are you talking about over by the, what is that? The Performing Arts Center where it's all down through there?
It's, and further down that way.
Further down as well,
It's
okay.
it's pushed over.
I will go look at that tomorrow and double check that.
But it's
But the
just-
other one is noted, and the snow removal company basically destroyed that. And so through the insurance and all of that, that's kind of what the holdup is on that.
It would just be nice, I mean, I realize there's many entrances and different ways for people to get into the park, but even the spots off of, the areas off of Nelson and such, if there was some little plaque that said non-motorized only for bikes and whatever somebody's bringing in.
I think some of that, we could probably do some of that.
And it wouldn't take a whole lot, but not having anything there, people just figure they can have whatever they want.
And is non-motorized vehicles enough for that? Because that would include all that, or are you looking strictly?
Well, I mean, it's kind of an open.
Because there's many different signs, and I've seen all
Sure.
of them, and so the non-motorized, you know, or
Well, that
motorized
kind of
vehicles are
takes the majority.
not- Yeah, because
I
that
mean,
would.
if we want to nitpick, have them come to us. And I think that, with social media, the way we got 3,000 users. I mean, it helps to have the parents involved. That isn't always gonna happen either. But did you know the rules for this park? Did you know, I'm not saying that that's gonna answer all our questions, but it at least keeps people talking. So,
I think one of the biggest things that would help with that is, because like we see vandalism, and this stuff is happening in the daylight, right with people walking by. And that comes back to our community being helpful and stepping in and,
see something, say something.
you know, if you say something or you get a hold of it, they have the same option to get a hold of the PD as I do. And part of the problem is everybody just walks on by and turns their head the other way, because we have an incident where they were doing graffiti all over the skate park, and there's 40 people in that zone, and it's in the broad daylight.
Yeah, and here's your water to drink. So, thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Other pieces of business?
So, the other thing I wanted to bring up while we're in committee of the whole is I don't know if there's a schedule for the crosswalks getting painted and such. I don't know if that falls under parks or roads or where it falls.
If you're talking about the ones that go across the road, that falls underneath roads. And I can definitely talk with them and find out what their ETA on that. I know they're just now starting to paint.
I just see a lot of very young children who basically barely clear the hood of a car, and they're out on their own, and the crosswalks aren't painted, and it's really hard to see. So rather than wait until there's a reason to paint, it would just be a good idea to do it ahead of time.
I know that when I was on the roads that I did paint those, so to what that is, I can definitely check in with the supervisor over there and just make sure that that's part of the motion of what's going on, because a lot of that stuff does wear off in a year's time.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
More than welcome.
Yeah, whatever we can do to keep the small ones safe and the big ones too. Larry?
I have nothing.
Make a motion to exit committee of the whole.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Me.
Scott, have you got any extra comments, any thoughts?
Kind of on the unfinished business. So with the Parks Passport, way it's set up, actually, Tammy kind of took the lead role on the end design on this thing. So what you're holding is a path from the little small one that she designed to this one. So shout out go to Tammy for her Parks Passport. See, she's too humble. In there though is like a completion certificate and things like that. So we have at the Menard Center stamps, so when the kids do complete it, they can come in and get a different park that they've gone to with little salmon or moose stamps and things like that. So that was kind of a fun thing. Big picture is, it was about $1,500 to print 500 of them. So we kind of went with the distribution straight to the kids, first and second grade. Hopefully that a teacher will inspire and get them rolling. What we'll try to look at is some potential grants and things like that, so we can really take this to the next level, especially after this, when the kids get into the parks with schools out and they start using it, we'll really kind of know how we want to modify it, how we are going to look at really kicking it up the next year. So that's kind of the vision with this passport. The goal isn't to turn it into a book. I know there's a lot of material in this, but we'll keep working that. But we're very proud of the product and excited to see that it gets some kids out. And as we've heard some grandparents saying, "Oh, I can't wait to take my grandkid out and go do the parks with them." So hopefully the adults jump on board and kind of lead this. So. And then cleanup days again, we've got that rolling. Everything else, summer is here, so a lot of work to be done.
Yes, sir. I guess one of the things I was thinking about as you were talking about that is Matsu
Health Foundation.
Health Foundation. Would be a big one.
Yeah, they have the wellness grant, and that's what we would target. You can get up to $15,000 for active and wellness programs, and they're pretty supportive. So that's kind of the attack next year.
You bet, you bet. And how to dovetail into this would be kind of cool too. Add-on pages. Anyway. Jesse, you got any other comments?
No, we just have a lot of work ahead of us, and we got a lot of improvements to do, and it's just, funding is a part of it, and we're working towards that. We've got some things that we're doing also in the park that we're, with power and different things, trying to set up to where when we do the Christmas, that went off without a hitch this year. That was very awesome. Everybody, I heard nothing but great rebuttals on how awesome that was, and we just plan on keep growing that every year. And with doing that, the power shortage that's there, we got to keep growing in order to do some of that stuff.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, the infrastructure's got to keep coming up with it.
You bet. Thank you.
Tammy, thank you for working so hard on the Parks Passport, and it looks awesome.
Yes, I agree. Well,
Indeed.
uh,
I agree as well.
okay, so if there's no other comments, we will, next meeting date is the 10th of July. 6, same time, same place. And we'll adjourn. Grandkids. Did you see the
With you.
Won't be here. You got it? Okay.